Afternoon to you. Can we start where we usually do with your team news, please? Is Ben Hamer available for you this weekend if you choose to select him?
Yes, I think he was training yesterday with the group. He was training today with the group too, and he didn't have any special problem. A little bit continue feeling something in the groin because he had an injury, but the scan was positive. I think with the pass of the days, he's going to feel better. He's still not in the 100%, but he's training now with the group.
When he is 100%, then how difficult a decision do you have to make? We've spoken to you a lot about your keepers. You trust all three of them, but how difficult would it be to make a change in goal with the performances you've had from Ryan Schofield?
I think the best thing that can happen to us is to have a good performance from the keepers when they are playing. It's like I was happy with the performance that Benhema had when he was playing in the first 11, and I am happy with the performance that Schofield is doing when he is playing. So always these type of questions are very positive for us because make the team stronger.
What about Danny Ward and his progress? How's he coming on at the moment?
He is continuing working with the medical staff. I don't expect to have him. I think until maybe the next year, at the beginning of the next year. I don't think that he will be available in the next games because we know that in the moment we start to play with Barnsley, we are going to play in a row with 2 points more. But I expect that in the moment we finish this game, he start to train with the group.
He must be so frustrated, and you must be so frustrated as well. He'd just come back into the fold for you, hadn't he?
I know how difficult it is for the players to step in this type of time, especially of him because he had a long-term injury. That's why we need to be a little bit caution. We need to be very careful about what we do because what we don't want to give any step back. So I want that he has the proper recovery. I want that he can fix his normal physical levels because it's something that we didn't see enough because I know that he's a physical player too and he couldn't show yet. And what we want is like the starting the next year, we can recover him and he can give the best all the things that he has inside himself for the club.
How much confidence do your side take from that performance and results against a very good Watford side?
We know that it was a difficult game. I think we suffered. We conceded more chances than the chances that we want to have. Football for me is not only about when you have the ball or you don't have the ball. For me, we try to control them without have the ball. You one possibility that the game allow you to have two. But of course, when you give the ball to the opponent, they are going to have options to control. The things that we don't have to allow them is to have the ball and have the chances. And in some moments of the game, they have the ball and they have the chances. Something that, of course, for us, our keeper is important, but we don't want to see the real level of our keepers because we want to defend very well. Not always these situations are going to happen. From the performance point of view, for me, some aspects to improve in defense, some aspects to improve from the attack point of view, in terms of how we can beat with the high pressure of the opponents, and at the same time, how we can use the recoveries of the ball to improve the quality of our counter-attacks. So, of course, like we say, every game is going to give us some messages that we are going to analyze, that we are going to watch, and what we need to do is to, after each game, be stronger than we were in the previous game.
You will always want more from your team, but on a mental side of things, how much does it give them belief when they have just beaten a team who were only a few months ago a Premier League team?
I think it was very important because we knew that we finished one period of the championship with the previous game where we were playing in 29 days, 9 games. And it was like the last part of this mountain that we needed to claim. So it was very positive to finish these 9 games with the feeling that we finished and with the result that we finished.
Can I ask you about Danny Green as well, a player that the club has agreed to sign? How much do you know about him? What can you tell us about him?
Oh, Danny Grant.
Yeah.
Danny Grant is a very young player. For me, he's a player with a lot of skills. If I am honest, is like I didn't participate in the signing of him because he was more linked with the one period of time to continue his development. Because for us, for the club, is a player that is going to need some time. But as soon as he's here with the club, I try to be very focused with any of the players that we have here. He's a young player, but we will play with some young players too. So everything is open. We know that he's going to need some period of time to adapt to the league, at the same time to continue his develop process. But at the same time, we are going to follow this develop, because as soon as we see that he's ready to help the first team, he will be ready to help us, and at the same time, he will do.
And you've used young players. You've shown that you're willing to use those young players. That must be a real incentive for him coming into the club to see other youngsters, your Schofields, Edmund Greens, Karoma, in your side.
I think we never are going to evaluate the players for the age that they have. We are going to evaluate more the players for the skills that they have, and at the same time for the level of ambitions that they show. These two things are very important for us. Sometimes some players arrive to the clubs after one success period, and after they don't find the reasons to continue working, to continue repeating the success. And I think another players have a lot of positive skills, and the determination and the vision that they have allow them to repeat the success or to start to have a success period of time in another club. So I think Danny Grant have a lot of positive things that we like in terms of the some of the skills that one player have to be here in Huddersfield.
How involved are you? Oh, sorry.
No worries. At the same time, I trust a lot in the work that Lee Bromby and the people who work with him is doing this club, because before I arrived here to the club, they did a very good job. For example, with the last year when they had in the market, for example, one player like Smith Rowe, being young, but showing a lot of potential and help a lot this club, with Chalobah the last year too, with Willock. So it's a people that for me work with a lot of being very smart to see which player can help the team to continue growing.
How does that relationship work then, from your perspective, with Lee Bromby and his team? How involved are you? I see today you've been linked with players even in South America, so it's a widespread net. How involved are you with that?
I work every day with Lee Bromby, analysing all the players that we have, analysing the performance that we are showing, analysing the improvement that we can do in the squad. So I work gate to gate with him. This is how we work, because both want exactly the same. And at the same time, with Lee Bromby, I share a lot of the feeling that we have in terms of how we understand the football and how we understand the play that can help us to continue growing. So for me, I am enjoying a lot in my relation with him and with his people.
Do you enjoy that side of it as well? And you enjoy working with Lee, but do you enjoy the recruitment side? Do you get excited, as fans in some ways do, don't they, about finding players and bringing new players in?
I think it's one of the needs that as a coach we have, because we need to, if you start to recruit players without the advice of the coach, it can create problem, because maybe the needs that you think that the team has are not the same needs that other people can feel. So for me, this work have to be close. We need to do together. That's why I told you we were talking about the needs in the future. That's why they decide that Danny Grant have a lot of the skill that I demand for the club, and at the same time of the skill that they think that the player have to have. That's why I told you that I didn't participate in the name of him, but I was watching him enough, and I think I trust a lot in the work that they are doing in the back, because Lee Bromby and his people are analysing a lot of possibilities, knowing which markets can help us to a player with a lot of possibilities here to Huddersfield.
We know the Boxing Day game is a very traditional one. Obviously, here in England, it'll be very different this year without fans in the ground. But do you enjoy these fixtures over the festive period? Do you buy into the whole traditional aspects of it?
Yes, no doubt. It's one of the things that make England a little bit different than other countries in the world. It's so for me, when you link football with the tradition like a Christmas Day, it shows how important football is for the British people, how important football is for this country, and that's why for me, why the English football is, if it's not the best, is one of the best. For me, maybe the best football in the world.
And Barnsley as a team, what do you make to them?
Barnsley for me is a team that has some players with the profile of the players that we were talking before. Young players, some of them, and other ones with more experience, but it's one group of players with a lot of ambition very hard-working team. I think it's been one of the more complicated games. If I watch back, I remember that the 2 games that we played with them when I was working in Leeds, both games were very, very, very tough. One at the beginning of the last year, one at the end of the last year. I think with a new squad, they didn't relegate the last year, so they saw a high level of determination when they were playing with a lot of team spirit. And I think this year they are doing exactly the same with 1 year more of experience. And after they have covered some gap with good players from another countries, I think they did a strong squad that they have. And what I have to tell you is that it's a team with a lot of energy, very aggressive in the pressing, even with the new coach more than before, because maybe before they were sharing more the idea of the attack and the idea to defend aggressive, and now it's a team very focusing to be very aggressive in attack and very aggressive in defense. That's why it's going to be one of the hardest tests that we have this year.
Thank you, Carlos. Feliz Navidad. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Johnny. Ricky, do you want to pick up from there, please?
Yeah, hi, Carlos. Okay.
Yeah.
I just wanted to ask you about the 2 South American players that you've been linked with. Is that an area where you are happy to look at, to look at players from that part of the world?
I think now with the new regulations after the Brexit, the market have changed a little bit in England, and it's going to affect to all the class, because now maybe South America starts to be one possible market that before that have the same type of importance here in the country. So I think as a club, what we need to be is to open to analyze all the world, and especially the new possibilities that appear, because now appear new possibilities and are going to disappear another of the previous possibilities. So as a club, we need to be adapted to find players that can improve the team, because in this market or in the summer market or in any market, always one of the responsibilities that the scouting people have is to analyze all the possible players that can appear in markets that now are going to be available for Huddersfield.
And in terms of January, obviously it's only a week or so away until the window opens. Do you have a list of targets that you know the club is targeting, and if so, how keen are you to get those done quickly? You don't want to be waiting around.
I think more than one list of targets. We always analyze, like I told you, I analyze the team with Libromi, with the sport director, and we are watching which needs we can have. At the same time, which player we want to continue developing, which player maybe we think that if we move on loan, we can help them to develop and after to give us more things here to the club. So all we are going to be analyzing every situation, and especially, of course, when arrive this period of time, instead to analyze, we start to make more decisions that analyzing. I think we always are analyzing the situation, but when this moment arrive, of course, is the moment to make the decisions. And like you say, we need to have some players, the faster the better, because you're going to have more time to work with them. But this is not something new, it's something for all the markets that are going to be open.
Just on Danny Grant, is he going to be training with you up until he's eligible to play, or is he going to be working with the B team and stuff like that? B
team and first team, we are working together, because our idea is to have the B team games as a games to give minutes to the players that are not involved with the first team. Today, right now, are playing some of the first team players with the B team, because we think that the game of the minutes playing a game can help more in the development and the preparation to can help in the first 11. Can help more them than, for example, the training. So, and every day in each training, I am watching all the B team players working with us. Some of them are working with their coaches too. But what we try to do is to work together, have the same philosophy of works and the same style to play, because for me this is the success of the club.
Just in terms of Danny, is there a plan to send him out on loan, or will he be staying with the club to try and break into the team for the second half of the season?
We are going to analyze well the situation that we have with him, to see how he can help us and how we can help him. But I think it's a player that after make this movement, the best thing for him will be stay with us, trying to adapt it more to the philosophy of the club, to the culture that we are creating here, and the culture that this club has before I arrived here too. So I think the best thing that we can have with him. The best thing that we can do for him is to give a little bit of stability here in the club before we make any type of decision.
I suppose it'll be a big change for him, obviously coming across from Ireland, you know, the step up as well to the Championship. That'll be a big change for him.
That's why I told you that we need to be patient with the players, that we need to be very focused just to develop the players more than the minutes or the minutes that they have. We want to make players ready to help the first team, and some players are going to need more time, some players are going to need less. We are going to see how everything goes, but of course we are excited to come work with him.
And just finally, I just wanted to ask about Tommy Elphick. Obviously, he's been out for over a year now. Where is he at in terms of his comeback? Is he out training? Is he still in the treatment room? What's his situation?
Unfortunately, the situation with him didn't change. He's a player that he continued working with the medical staff. He had a problem with the rehabilitation of his injury. Is one player that we don't think that can help this year the team.
Is he going to be available to train in the next few weeks, or is it more of a long-term issue with him? Is he still basically a long way away?
I think he's going to need more time to be with the medical staff. I don't expect him to be working with the group right now. I hope everything can change because he's a player that is very professional. He's a player with a lot of experience in the Championship. But after the long term that he spent with the injury, I cannot be thinking that he's going to be ready to help the team during this year and this season, more than this year, during this season.
Yeah. What's he like around the club? Because obviously when you've got a player that's not available to play, so experienced, how is he around the club and with players? You know, is he helpful to have?
Being honest, like I am very focused in the training with the first team with available players. I don't work a lot with him because he's more with the medical staff. But everything that I was watching and everything that I was listening from him, he just perfect professional. Is someone who is taking care a lot of himself. Someone that always help the people that is working with him. So I think every word that I listened from him was a very nice word. So it talks a lot about his level as a person.
Cheers, Carlos. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Ricky. Stuart, do you want to pick up from there, please?
Yeah, Carlos. You talk about Barnsley as a team, and I remember watching that game at Ellen Road last season. They were very good and worked Leeds very hard. But do you feel they've improved again since?
Being honest, I think so. I think so because I think they have had some players that have the same spirit of the player that they have before in the team, but at the same time with more experience because maybe they are like a 28 years old or 29 years old, one of the wingers that they signed, one of the central back that they signed. So I think they have consolidated the same group like the base of the last year, and they have had some new players that I think contribute to help the team to improve the level. That's why they are in another position of the last year, because if we analyze this team just 1 year ago, they were in a worse position on the table that they are right now. They right now are making very good results. They are perform really well. They are making every game very complicated to the opponent. That's why they play with a lot of energy, with a lot of ambition and desire, and it's going to be a really, really, really challenge game for us.
And how much credit do you give to Valérien Ismaël? Because I think he's won 8 out of 13 games since he's come in, for just raising that level.
I think he's making a fantastic job with the team. But at the same time, the coach that was working from the beginning of the season and the coach that now is working as an assistant, all of them, they were making a very good job with the team. And for me, when a lot of coaches are making a very good job with the teams, say that the players have a lot of responsibility in this type of work. Not because the coaches are bad coaches, no, because this is total opposite, because sometimes the players are making a good coaches or sometimes the players are making a bad coaches. So I think these players are helping them to be good coaches, because I think all the 3 people that was working with the team, for me, the 3 coaches were doing a very good job.
And you mentioned a couple of times the energy Barnsley play with. That's a real feature of your team as well. I mean, do you think you're 2 of the fittest teams in the Championship?
I think we need to, in the moment one player start to play the game without desire, start to play the game without being hungry, start to play the game with this type of extra effort in some moments or ambition, start to be more normal team or more normal player, start to be worse than he is. I think what we need to have always is this level of determination, this level of ambition, this level to never feel tired, to always, you can feel fatigue because we are going to play this year a lot of games in a row, but it doesn't mean that we need to be tired because always our level of dream, our level of desire for the achievement have to be higher of the fatigue in some moment of the competition.
And of course, that's right. But how difficult is that to achieve with human beings?
I think always is the challenge with everyone because sometimes we prefer to be more in the comfortable positions and to be calm, but at the same time we need to be challenged. I need to be challenged always, or we need to be challenged ourselves every day, because if one coach need to challenge the team, means that the players doesn't demand enough from themselves. Fortunately, I don't have this type of players, and this is one of the things that made me feel proud of them when they are in the game, because always is very important to have players that they demand from themselves more than anyone in the world, more than the fans, more than the coaches, more than the president, more than the sport directors. Because when you have this type of feeling inside and you are a player, you can grow. If you don't have this type of self-demanding, you never want to grow. So we need to find balance between the confidence and the self-demanding, because in the moment one of both values is higher than the other one, you can have a problem.
So have you been very pleased with the desire you've seen in this squad all season?
Because I think we wouldn't be a competitive team if we don't have this level of self-demanding.
And we spoke to Romani Edmonds-Green earlier. How impressed have you been with his development this season? Obviously, he missed a part of pre-season, didn't he?
I think it was one of the points that made me feel a little bit sad. Is like because it was a player that needed a little bit of time to can be adapted for the championship demandings. But now when he's adapted, he's showing that he can help the team in the competition. So always it's positive to have this type of players all the time that they can be available. That you say he was a player that he didn't start in a good condition of the precision. Now he's too much better in terms of everything, in terms of every value that for me can help the players to have a good performance. So I think right now he's showing that his level of adaptation is higher from the beginning. That's why he's playing in a row, and that's why he's showing a good performance in the games.
And just finally from me, I mean, you mentioned we've sort of reached the end of one section of your championship season. So how do you reflect on the season so far?
I think that every game is going to challenge for us new behaviors. We need to be ready to grow every single game, because in the moment you start to improve in the playing out, the other team when play with you start to press better, and it pushes you to move you to another level in terms, for example, of the playing out. At the same time, from the defensive point of view, is one part of the game that we have to continue be thinking a lot, how we can continue improving. And at the same time, like I told you, we defend better. We are going to have more options to counter-attack too, depending about the height where we defend, if we are more in a mid-block or more in a higher block. And for me, we need to continue improving a lot in this type of situation, and at the same time in the set pieces. So football never allow you to can be relaxed, to don't be thinking how you can improve, because in the moment you relax, in the moment you don't think how to grow, you start to put your level in a lower position.
But are you pleased with the speed of the progress? Because to change a culture and to change philosophy is a long-term project. But you know, if you compare Huddersfield to this time last year, as you did with Barnsley, it's a big improvement.
I think always I like to make evaluation at the end of the periods, because even if we have played now enough number of games, these games show us that we have still a lot of things that we have to improve to be more competitive team. That is what the players and the staff want.